Hey guys, so quick little warning at the start of this episode. So, a lot of you have said that we need to give Brian more time to talk, and we agree with you. Unfortunately, Brian's going to disappear in the middle of this episode, though, because there was an issue with the recording where we just lost Brian's audio after about 10 minutes. No clue what happened. Usually you'd think, not a big deal, boy barely talks. This was really his coming out episode. He talked a whole lot. So, episode's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit more awkward. I edited around the silences, obviously, and kind of just cut out any references to him after he disappeared. But yeah, Brian's missing on the later half of this episode, and we're sorry about that to Brian and to you listeners because you missed out on some solid one-liners from him. All right, bye. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the final anthology film of October. We are talking about Trick or Trick or Treat. Got to make sure that I clarify.
Yeah.
Trick or Treat from 2007 to 2010, basically. The movie was completed in 2007, and no one wanted to put it out. And it sat on a shelf for almost 3 years before it was inevitably just thrown out on a DVD release in the middle of October in 2009, 2010. Terrible fate upon a movie that is genuinely the best anthology film in years.
Yeah, easily.
So, but I will say, before we dive into this is a weird anthology film to me because it doesn't. We had the conversation with Ryan Spindell when I was at Fantastic Fest, and afterwards he mentioned that he finds it hard to classify this one as an anthology film because it's not segmented stories, it's like consistently interwoven stories. He was like, it's an anthology film in the same way that like Pulp Fiction's an anthology film, and I think that that's actually a really good analogy of how this feels as an anthology film compared to everything else.
In my humble opinion, I think it's an anthology film the way all anthology films should be. I think I enjoy the fact when they're all interwoven, like not horror, but go, like I think I enjoy the fact where it's just like 4 different stories, but they all intertwine at the end. That's an enjoyable anthology film to me.
Yeah, no, and I love this movie. I do kind of agree because he said that he read somewhere that like these were just like 4 random stories that they just kind of threw together as one film, but he's like, I don't see how that's physically possible because so many of them interconnect and are interwoven. I will say that I love the introduction to this movie with like the old black and white TV with the rules of Trick or Treat, and then it just cuts to like our first kill pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
It just sets the mood. It's also I gotta love any anthology film that's under 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're joined on this episode by Jason of Creepy Co., who I also hung out with for like an entire week at Fantastic Fest. Hey, Jason!
Hey, how's it going, man? Nice to talk to you so soon.
Yeah. So, you jumped in a couple seconds after we had hit record. I sent you a list of movies to choose, and you were like, Trick or Treat, easily. What drew you to grab that one as opposed to, I don't know, House That Dripped Blood or Tales from the Hood?
As much as I love the Tales of the Crypt anthology thing, Trick or Treat speaks to me. It's shot in the Midwest. It's based in Ohio. I mean, it was technically shot in Canada, but it's based in Ohio, which is not too far from Illinois, Chicago area. And also, when the news crew scene happens, coming up pretty soon, I think. The song playing in the background is my friend's group, so a little special place for me.
What's the song?
The group's called Quell and Maker. I actually don't remember the name of the title of the song, but yeah, they got contracted for this movie, so that's their song playing in the background.
Super cool.
Well, that's a fun fact that I didn't know was going to come up. Yeah. So let's just tackle all the individual like main stories. I know that there's like these little sub stories interwoven, but so we've got the first real story is the Killer Principal story, which is my personal favorite of
Principal Wilkins.
Oh, it's got that like comedy of errors vibe to it that I just always enjoy. It's probably is it the goriest? It's probably the goriest segment in the
he
in the movie as well.
makes a kid eat a razor blade and the kid vomits blood and dies. That's pretty gory.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. And his little kid, his son is like adorable as all hell while still being super obnoxious and annoying the whole time.
Charlie Brown's an asshole.
Prove him wrong. Prove him wrong.
I love the fact that when he's burying that body, right? Which is not the same body. So I don't, unless I'm mistaken, that's not Charlie. Charlie is the fat kid who vomits blood and dies. He's burying somebody else, right?
No, he's burying him.
Well, so when the hand comes up out of the trash bag or whatever, isn't it wearing like a costume? I was really confused when I watched this.
I was going to say, again. I think Scott's right because I've concluded this as well because the hand has a costume on and also like he's got that head waiting down in the basement the whole time.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. It's another kid that he killed. But yes, okay, validation. I love it. I love validation.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like buried Easter egg things throughout this movie that are kind of interwoven themselves.
The funniest thing that's not really like an actual punchline about this movie is the fact that the police chief from Super Troopers is the grouchy old man next door to
Brian Cox, man.
Yeah.
Dude, Brian Cox is in so much stuff, and your go-to is the police chief.
Well, that's because that is his claim to fame for me. I think it is funny that he's Hannibal Lecter also.
That's a good touch point.
Yeah, he was the original Hannibal Lecter.
What?
But,
yeah, Manhunter.
No, he's 100% the chief in Super Troopers.
I just love that he's like, it stinks like a dead whore out there.
So this movie's got so many little Easter eggs that I'm willing to bet that if you paused it and looked at what the costume was that was being worn, that you could probably figure out somebody in one of the background shots that it was that he killed.
100%.
Like I haven't done that to confirm, but I'm leaning towards there's probably something that connects it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that the shot where you think that he killed his kid and then it reveals that he's got a head there for them to carve is probably one of the most incredible reveals. Because the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, fuck, it got dark. Like, him killing that fat kid didn't get dark to me, but him killing his son was like really dark to me.
I thought I was watching a lighthearted film about him killing a fat kid.
But yeah, so we go to that immediately into what I think is my least favorite of the stories, which is like the zombie kid story.
I like it. You're not a fan of
that's the bus kids?
Yeah.
I like it. It's the most emotional pulling scene in the movie for me. Like, it's like the one part where I didn't have fun was like when the kids are desperately trying to get out of the chains on the bus.
The other thing that I focus on to like not get too sad during that scene is like what the fuck's up with that paper bag with human teeth costume that's sitting in the back row, because that shit is weird looking. He looks like the Quiznos Subs monsters, if you remember those from like
yeah. Oh, what were they called? The sock monkeys?
The sock monkeys?
Yeah.
That's just, everyone else is just wearing like these weird store-bought like costumes, and then there's just paper bag with teeth in the background. That scene is rough emotionally.
I agree with you, Matt, though, that is this is a great film. Like every piece of this movie is watchable, but it always feels like that is the least strong. I don't want to call it weak. I just think that it's the least compelling. I like the visuals of it. I love the story that they tell when it's like sepia toned on the bus and stuff like that. I just feel like it's the least entertaining of everything in this movie, but it's still good. I mean, it would be much stronger if it was in a weaker movie, if that makes sense.
I think the biggest problem with that particular segment is that it's really drawn out for the most predictable of all the punchlines.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
there you go.
Like, that the kids are going to come out of that water, and it's just like really, really drawn out. Versus like all the other twists have these nice little unexpected elements to it. There's really no unexpected twist to that one. So it just kind of feels like it slows down the momentum of it a little bit. Just a little bit. It's an hour and 20 minutes. You can't really slow down too much in an hour and 20 minutes. But then we jump into the fucking werewolf story, which has the coolest transformation I've seen in years.
Yeah, it's really nicely done.
Absolutely. I mean, so Jason, you don't know this about me, but I fucking love werewolves. Not like werewolf movies, because I don't care about the whole ethos of people being sad that they're ripping people apart in a full moon. I just want to see the transformations, and so that's what I get in this movie, or in this section of the movie. So I mean,
you
that's
get guilt-free werewolves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're very happy to be werewolves too. So yeah, you really don't even have to get the questioning about is this right or wrong.
Yeah.
There's a werewolf coven having a good time.
Dude, just wrecking folks. Just wrecking
but
them.
it's so great that Principal Wilkins, like, you think you get a vampire scene, but it's just Principal Wilkins with teeth, like fake teeth in, and then he's like, "Who are you people?" And she's like, "Be gentle. It's my first time," or something like that. And then she like rips her skin off, and the crazy werewolf underneath. It's great.
Well, and I love, so like jumping back to the beginning, when they're like shopping for costumes, there's so many like little hints to what's going on.
Yeah, the huff no puff. Yeah.
Or like the one says like that she was the run of the litter. Like there's all these like dialogue choices to hint that they're going to be werewolves. But the first time I watched it, did not see it coming at all. And it fucking floored me.
Yeah, it's greatly, it's another well done thing in this movie.
Yeah, there's not a lot of poorly done things in this movie for sure. And then we get to the Brian Cox story, which has a lot of like what I think are some of the coolest visual segments in this movie. Like the shot of him stepping out on the front porch and his whole front lawn is just covered in pumpkins is like a really gnarly shot. The flames shooting out of the pumpkin, revealing all the words written on the walls. And then even just Sam when his hood comes off. Like this has so many cool moments just scattered among it. And I think it's actually the longest segment. I think it's almost like 20 minutes in this hour and 20-minute movie, but it like holds your attention the whole time.
Okay, so I have a question because for Jason, since Jason, I know you the least, obviously. What are your thoughts on when Sam's hood gets taken off? Do you like it?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence on that one. I like him kind of unknown. So when he does take the hood off, you get kind of a little bit of like, it's never gonna quite meet your expectations. But I don't hate it, just don't love it.
Yeah, I think that you're right, because I've never liked that. I've never wanted, that's not something I ever wanted this movie to do. And even the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. I kind of wanted him to just not have a demon. I wanted it to be like, forever in my imagination. And I like that Sam has gotten to be such a popular, I mean, really, if you think in the last decade plus, like, so this movie came out 10 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the last decade, has there been any other horror, like any creature that has really gotten the kind of traction that Sam has? I don't think so. I mean,
the only thing I can think of as of recently is like Art from Terrifier, but that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. So Art. Yeah. People will dress up as Art.
So this is almost a decade after Art, though. You know what I mean? Because like
Before
Art the Clown. Yeah. This was so like it's been almost a full decade before we found another iconic character since like the ghost face in the 90s, or like the Saw puppet. Like it definitely is one of those. What's impressive with this one is that, as far as I know, there isn't any genuine plans yet for a Trick or Treat 2 in the immediate now. So it's like this movie's got almost a decade on it now, and it's still iconic in just that one movie, which is rare. It's very rare that you have like a singular movie that has that staying power. We've talked about Dr. Giggles. People should be dressed up as Dr. Giggles at all conventions.
And that'd be so easy too. It's not expensive.
God, I should do that.
Dude, I've been if we're dressing up, if I am getting you, me, and Brian to do fucking Anton.
Oh no, the Idle Hands cosplay will happen. Just Brian needs to get his ass out to any of the conventions that we do. What are some final thoughts? I feel like we're rushing through this, but it's A, it's a short movie, B, it's a movie we all love, C, it's a movie that everybody's seen. So
well, I got a couple of things. Just quotes that I love from this movie. Coach Taylor was in a hot dog costume, butt fucking a pig, I think. Which you see somebody murdered in a hot dog costume at the werewolf.
Yeah, the werewolf roast.
Yeah, werewolf roast. We roast. Ha ha ha. But yeah, it's so great. I do love the fact that they bring so much back into other pieces of the film, and it's really economical to do that. I think that, like, from a sheer production standpoint, it means you have to have fewer costumes, and so why not? Like, it's just smart. It's just smart business. But we do have a scene that I love where Brian Cox picks whiskey over a candy bar, and I'm like, bro, same. But then he gets his tendon cut, and you know how we always talk about that's the thing that makes your asshole pucker the most. Someone get decapitated, you're like, nah, whatever. Then you see a tendon cut, you're like, oh fuck. I do really like, as much as I dislike what Sam looks like with his mask off, I love the fact that he's full of pumpkin goo, so that when Brian Cox shoots him, he's just full of, like, pumpkin innards. I love it.
So this is a weird one, but according to IMDb trivia, which we'll see how believable this is all in all, that Brian Cox's character design was based on John Carpenter.
Yeah, I read that also.
And the scene with the hand was supposed to be a throwback to The Thing, when he says, "You got to be fucking kidding me," and the hand is like crawling along the floor.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
But the big thing that we want to talk about, because we knew that this was going to be a shorter episode, is that Jason's here from, I feel pretty comfortable saying, one of the unofficially favorite companies for horror movie night, which is
it's not even unofficial. We wear our love on our backs about how much you like it.
Well, thank you very much. As a self-appointed employee, as you found out at Fantastic Fest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't even tell that story. Yeah. I wore a Creepy Co shirt every day at Fantastic Fest. And this random guy, right before I did the interview with the Fatale Collective, we were sitting in the bar talking about, like, what we were going to discuss in the interview. And this guy just walks up and he's like, "Hey, sorry to interrupt." And everything in my brain was like, he's going to talk to these girls who are directors. And he looks right at me and goes, "I just need to tell you how much I love your t-shirt company." And I was like, I don't work for Creepy Co. It's like,
oh shit, that's incredible.
Yeah, there was a split second where I was like, oh my god, is this a podcast fan? I'm gonna look like such a badass in front of these filmmakers. And then it was a case of mistaken identity.
So I do want to say one thing, is that this is made all the more surreal because if you have looked at the women that are in the Fatale Collective, they are drop dead gorgeous. And this guy comes up to Matt and it's like, "Yo, dude, sorry to interrupt you talking to these beautiful women, but I love that shirt and I love your company."
It's high praise, high praise.
Yeah, I mean, they are great shirts and they get a lot of praise by anybody. I get more compliments on that shirt or the shirts I get from Studio House than anything else that I wear ever. So where do the design, like, what portion of Creepy Co do you do any of the shirt designs, or are you kind of in sales? I never actually knew what your full job is.
Yeah.
Jason.
I'm kind of one of I think I am the longest employee of the company, so I always say that I'm like a jackass of all trades, 'cause I've kind of done all of the jobs. So yeah, I don't do too much of the design work. That's mostly Kelly and her team and Luke. There's a whole squad of designers that work with us that they just kind of do all that cool fun stuff, and they just show me things and I go, "That looks really cool," or like, I would change this, and I get a little bit of feedback. But yeah, I mostly handle the day-to-day stuff and all the, if you email customer service, you're talking to me. If you make a comment on the internet, you might be talking to me. So I've done everything from packing orders to assembling pins to mailing things out to, you name it, I've probably done it.
Nice. And most likely, if Creepy Co is at a convention, you're there with them.
Yes, it'll most likely be me and Jen, or maybe just Jen sometimes. But yeah, it's one of us two usually at the conventions.
All right. And, what's the website so people can go and check out some of these amazing shirts and pick up some?
Yeah, sure. It's creepycompany.com. It's pretty straightforward. If we just Google Creepy Company, we'll come up and be right there in your browser.
Now, and I don't know if it's just me or not, but I can't get on Facebook without a Creepy Co ad hitting me, and I'm like, I'm not even mad about it, I'm like,
yeah, they trace me too. So
Do you like creepy call? You're like, yeah, I like them. They pay my rent.
Yeah, it's weird when the ads pop up and I see myself. I'm like, oh god, this is terrifying.
What's your favorite design that you think isn't getting enough love on the website? And we'll send some of our listeners over there to buy it.
When we just launched a huge our Halloween collection just came out. So yeah, anything from there, I'm super excited about and super happy with. We did these really cool sort of Sam S. Jack-o'-lantern pumpkin statues that are based on like the old Bicycle characters. So yeah, go check those things out.
That's awesome. The most nostalgia I've ever had, and I think you're either sold out of this shirt or just sold out in sizes for fat asses like me, is I forgot about the decorations that I guess every family in the 80s had of like the witch, the pumpkin, and the screaming skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
And you did like a whole shirt of those. And
Yes.
I saw that and was like, holy shit, that's a blank spot in my memory that just got unlocked from these guys.
Yeah, actually, those just restocked actually, so you
Sweet.
can
Oh,
find
man.
them.
Let's talk about some double features. Jason, you're our guest. How about we give you a chance to steal one from us?
I want to go with the Stephen King classic Cat's Eye.
Son of a bitch.
Because it's kind of similar to Trick or Treat. It's a one woven story, and the cat kind of is the Sam of the story, kind of interweaving between to keep all the stories linked together. So I'm going with the Cat's Eye.
Damn it. I thought I could.
Are you serious? That was the one that you were going to pick?
That was the one that I had written down. Yeah. It's Scott, you go while I try to just quickly come up with something.
Well, so both of these are cheeky as fuck. And you guys can decide whether either of them should actually be done as a double feature. But they're two of my other favorite horror movies. And they're both for very different reasons. So I would like to do a triple feature, but if we were going to do a double feature, it would either be House on Haunted Hill 99, strictly due to the fact that Sweet Dreams by Marilyn Manson is in both movies. But if you wanted to get really cheeky, you would fuck with your friends by doing Trick or Treat from 1987 or whatever it is, and then Trick or Treat from 2009. But I don't need an excuse to do Trick or Treat because that movie just rules. Jason, have you seen it?
I'm familiar with Trick or Treat.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's
all right, and I had to come up with something on the fly. This is going to sound dumb, but I'm sticking to it because I think that Sam, when he takes off his hood, looks like a baby version of this character. So we're going to watch Trick or Treat, and then I'm going to convince everybody that Sam grew up to be Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, fair. I like that.
I'll take it.
So finally, let's wrap up with the talking about something that you've seen recently that was really good. Jason, I'm going to make the executive decision of having you and I go last since we were both at the same film festival.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
All right, well, so here's the funny thing is that you guys were at Fantastic Fest watching, great genre films that I'm not going to be able to see until 2020 if I'm lucky. And I was at home watching The Long Shot. Now, that said, I really enjoyed The Long Shot, and I messaged with Matt, and he was like, yeah, The Long Shot's really fun. I mean, I thought that it was a little long, but Megan picked it, and we had a really good time watching it. And, I feel like Judd Apatow's like, yo, Seth, he calls Seth up, and he's like, buddy, do you want to kiss a beautiful blonde? And Seth Rogen is like, do I? I mean, he's just like, of course he's going to say yes.
Well, Scott, I think you got that wrong right out the gate because I'm pretty sure Seth Rogen would have said, but continue.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. And I just felt like such a schmuck because I'm watching like super Hollywood type movie while you guys are watching wonderful genre films. But that's neither here nor there. And then we rounded out the weekend with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze, which still holds up. It is still just so incredibly good and charming, and the practical effects just still blow my mind because anybody that's able to do karate in those gigantic latex suits is just a god in my mind.
All right, Jason and I were both at Fantastic Fest at the time that we're recording this. It's coming out a whole month after the fact. But so I'll ask you first. What were some of your favorite films that you saw throughout the week?
I'm still kind of processing all the ones I saw. I mean, but off the top of my head, the ones that stick out, I absolutely loved After Midnight.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. That was my favorite
I'm
one of the year.
so jealous. I want to see that one so bad.
yeah.
I will say this much. It has the last like 5 minutes might be the hardest I've laughed in the theater in a very, very long
Yeah,
time.
I will have to agree with that. The Platform I really enjoyed, or as much as you can enjoy that movie, The Platform is pretty solid. If you check that one out, I think that one's coming to Netflix. I think at the end of November, so that one's a little sooner than later.
I didn't see that. What's the concept on The Platform?
So it's kind of like did you see High Rise with like the class building kind of thing? It was it came out like 2 years ago. And then Bong's the train movie he made with like all the rich people in the front of the train and the poor people in the back of the train.
The like Snowpiercer, was it?
Yeah, Snowpiercer. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a combination of High Rise and Snowpiercer together. So these people are inside a building, and there's an elevator shaft on the middle. That food is like the platform is filled with food on level 0, and then as it goes down to the different levels of all the different criminals, there's like less and less food, and then it kind of goes from there. If you can figure that out.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's like a little dystopian type concept. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, exactly. So those are probably the two off the top of my head that are sticking out. And of course, like Jojo Rabbit was fantastic, and The Lighthouse was amazing. But those are kind of given on those ones.
Yeah.
How about for you?
For me, After Midnight's definitely probably my biggest one. Tammy and the T-Rex was a fucking blast. And
that's a good time.
I cannot wait. I that is happening in 2020. Just putting it out there.
Worm was a lot of fun. It was a very different type of movie, and Dolomite Is My Name was one of the secret screenings, and I genuinely. I'd heard people saying that like the theory was that was going to have a lot of Oscar buzz, and now that I've seen it, I totally agree. Like I think that every person gives 110% in their performances, and it's basically just Ed Wood for blaxploitation films, which makes sense because it's written by the guys who wrote Ed Wood. I had never seen Dolomite until that week, and like I never realized how much Dolomite is the influence on Black Dynamite, but like it 100% is. So the making of is a really fascinating and fun story. But yeah, that is Trick or Treat, released sometime between 2007 and 2010, because Hollywood hates Michael Dougherty, apparently. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Go check out creepyco.com. Pick up some sweet-ass shirts. I know that I've got at least 5 now in my closet, and that's just going to continue to grow.
Thank you.
And we will be back next week with a sort of Halloween movie picked by Scott.
It's not sort of. It happens on Halloween, bro.
So check out all of our other stuff, our social media and everything at HMN Podcast.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.